Hello everybody, welcome to PBM's Video Entertainment, and welcome back to another episode of Veggietales Homemade Reviews. And happy Easter, everyone! And since this is the month of Easter, I figured we could talk about the very first Veggietales Easter special that has ever been made. And I'm of course talking about An Easter Carol. And without wasting any more time, we will now jump into the history of An Easter Carol. So, An Easter Carol was originally released onto VHS and DVD back in February of 2004. Now, the original mass market distributor was Warner Home Video, and of course, the original Christian market distributor is Word Entertainment. And I think it's a little weird how an Easter home media product is released on the month of Valentine's Day, instead of being released on March or April. Anyways, moving on. So, An Easter Carol was re-released onto VHS and DVD once again back in March 8th of 2005, but this time by Sony Wonder. Then on February 10th of 2009, it was re-released by Genius Products. Then on January 19th of 2010, it was re-released by Vivendi Entertainment, and that copy comes with a free Silly Song DVD included, and the Silly Song DVD is the Hairbrush song. Now, believe it or not, the Hairbrush DVD is actually 100% exclusive in the 2010 reprint of An Easter Carol. Now, if you wanted to buy the exclusive Silly Song DVD, you would have to get it inside the 2010 copy of An Easter Carol. And then finally, on October 15th of 2018, the DVD copy was re-released by Universal Studios. And now we got the history part done, we will now jump into my copy of An Easter Carol. Alrighty, we will now take a look at my copy of An Easter Carol. And the version I have is the 2004 Warner Home Video copy, and this is the VHS copy, of course. Now, I used to have the DVD copy, but then I sold it because, well, like I said in the Veggietales Home Media Collection of 2024, I sold most of my Veggietales Home Media products because, well, I wanted to have room for the other home media products that I do collect and stuff like that, so, yeah. But if I ever decide to get the DVD copy back, I'll do a menu tour. When I decide to do, like, a supplemental video for An Easter Carol. Anyways, on the top here we have the Veggietales logo, and here we have Mr. Nezer, and here we have Hope, voiced by Rebecca St. James. An Easter Carol title card, and then here we have Junior as Edmund, and Bob as Cavis, and Larry as Millward. Yep, and then here we have some robot chickens, and then some little Easter eggs, and then pretty nice background right here. Spine, Warner Home Video logo. And then scrolling down here, Big Idea logo. Here we have the back. Here we have scenes from the film, and then Sunday morning value, Saturday morning fun. And then pause if you want to read all of this. Ugh, sorry, can't even speak. Then here we have Mr. Nezer and Hope once again. Then here we have featuring Grammy Award winning artist Rebecca St. James as the voice of Hope. And if you look right here, it says the adventures of Cavis and Millward began in An Easter Carol's companion video, The Star of Christmas. So technically, An Easter Carol is actually a sequel to Star of Christmas. So if you've seen the first part, Star of Christmas, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Anyways, here we have Big Idea, Warner Home Video, WEA, all that copyright info, rated G in Canada. Yep. And let's have a look at the tape. And by the way, I love the case that they add to this release. Pretty nice. Definitely fits well with the whole thing, pretty much. Anyways, let's have a look at the tape now. So here's the usual green tape with an ink label. Approximately 49 minutes long. And then the print date says January 30th, 2004. And like I said, since I don't have the DVD copy anymore at the moment, we will just jump into my review and thoughts on An Easter Carol. So overall, do I recommend An Easter Carol? Now, I gotta say, we've had like so many like Christmas Carol adaptations and stuff like that from Disney, Warner Bros., Thomas and Friends, and so on and so forth, you know? And they're really fun to watch, of course, and I bet they're a lot of fun to do, like doing Christmas Carol, like adaptations, remakes, parodies, whatever, you know? Anyways, back to Easter Carol. So I'm surprised with Big Idea when they went with a whole different direction with this, because obviously this not being a Christmas video, this is actually an Easter video. So obviously, like, this is a sequel to the Star of Christmas, and this is actually the very first Veggietales Easter special. And I think for the first time ever, we actually have Mr. Nezer as the main character in one of the Veggietales episodes, which is pretty cool, because before Easter Carol, obviously Mr. Nezer, he was like the main antagonist in some of the stories or episodes, or supporting roles and stuff like that, or even like background characters in some episodes and stuff like that. But yeah. So anyways, what do I think about Easter Carol? Well, I think it's pretty cool. Like, I like the soundtrack, and I think my top 2 favorite songs from Easter Carol has to be a tie between Boyd's and Hope's song. Now, interesting fact about Hope's song, we actually got it like pretty much 7 months early before we got the tape, or pretty much the episode itself, because Hope's song can be found in the 2003 CD, Have We Got a Show for You, which was released in June of 2003. And we didn't get Easter Carol until, like I said, 7 months later, in February of 2004. And now let's talk about the story plot of Easter Carol itself. So, as some of y'all may remember from Star of Christmas, Cavis and Miller were working at a theater, which it like burned down because it had too much electricity power or something like that. And so Cavis and Millward, they had to pay off the damages by working at Mr. Nezer's egg factory and stuff like that. And so one day, like the day before Easter, Cavis and Millward asked Mr. Nezer if they could have the day off from Easter. And then Mr. Nezer's like, what are you talking about? That would let Grandma down, you know? And so he decided to build like an Easter theme park to where a church is. So he was planning to tear down the church to build Easterland. And he didn't want to, of course, close down his factory on Easter Sunday, you know? Like, he thought, like, keeping the egg factory open and tearing down the church to make it an Easter theme park would make his grandmother happy. But then, one night he had a vision where he was visited by the ghost of Grandma Nezer, and meets a little angel named Hope, excuse me. And Hope takes Mr. Nezer to his past, present, and future. And so when Hope showed Mr. Nezer the Easter future, like if he tear down the church and everything, things would pretty much not turn out pretty, you know. Things would kind of go like on a downward spiral, you know. But anyways, in the end, Mr. Nezer, he decides to not tear down the church, not to build his theme park where a church is, and he let Cavis and Millward, well, I do know in the opening, well, pretty much in the beginning, like, Mr. Nezer fires Cavis and Millward because, well, he asked Mr. Nezer if they could have the day off, and Mr. Nezer said no, and stuff like that. But, anywho, in the end, Mr. Nezer becomes a much nicer and wiser man. So overall, if you've already watched The Star of Christmas, feel free to watch Easter Carol next because, well, like I said, pretty good story plots, and I'm glad we get to see, like, the characters from Star of Christmas back, like Junior as Edmund, and Bob and Larry as Cavis and Millward, Pa Grape as Seymour, Scooter as Moyer, all of those characters that were in the Star of Christmas video. So yeah, overall, I recommend an Easter Carol. So anyways, that's gonna do it for me, everybody, and I will see you all next time. Happy Easter, everyone.